Great.
Hello and welcome to Game Changers with me, Vicki Abelson. And my guests tonight are wonderful friends, wonderful people, incredible actors, and just brilliant Americans. You guys are. It's Eliza and Eric Roberts. Yay! Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, okay. So my other feed is making noise. Wait, I gotta quiet it. Okay, there we go. Hi, you guys. You're like the cutest people on the planet.
Thank you very much. It's ridiculous, but I don't think we've ever been called whatever you said Americans before.
You are great Americans, though, because you guys, you're very political on your social media, and you always have been. It isn't because of what's happening today, which we'll get to, but you also are humanists. You're animal activists. Are you vegans? You're something like that, aren't you? Yeah.
Vegan. Part-time vegan.
Yeah. We can't avoid talking about this first. So tell me what you guys think about what happened today.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I don't want to go at all.
I love the way you guys have your masks on clips hanging down.
Yeah, lanyard. I even have a sparkly one.
If you put it down, you don't have it. You got to always have it. Yeah, and we always take them off, so you got to put them somewhere. Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Did you notice in the hearings yesterday that all the Republicans were wearing them under their nose? They were wearing them because they were mandated, but they were under their nose.
Yes, so that's like not wearing a mask. It is not wearing a mask. I mean, we're getting so many deliveries instead of going anywhere. So you have to be prepared. Suddenly the Amazon guy's there or whatever, and you got to have this.
I have to adapt this thing because the lanyard is brilliant.
Oh, it's so yeah.
And it's only polite to always have your mask ready in case anybody comes up. It's only polite now.
Okay, so all right, we'll talk about the idiot in a minute. We're here, so let's talk about this now. How the hell, Eric, do you have 56 projects happening during COVID that are either filming in post-production, pre-production? And Eliza, how did you get him this work? And how are you doing this in the pandemic?
Well, let me just say what's happening. When years and years ago, like 30 years ago, in fact, 1993, she says to me, if you could do anything every day, what would it be, Eric? I say, I'd be on a movie set. She goes, well, that's not going to happen. And then jump 2003, 4, 5. She said, this camera's coming with HD, and everybody's going to become their own little studio. It's going to be interesting. And by 2008, they were calling us directly because they were each their own little studio. So they just call her. They call the agent. They wouldn't. It was not a big deal anymore. It was direct contact to the movie maker.
Right.
So we got job offers every day from all over the world because everybody was their own studio suddenly. So from 2008-ish to 2018, we saw the world probably 2 or 3 times and made like 300 movies. We're in 300 movies. And we didn't star in all those movies. So we wouldn't have the time for that. But we're in like 300 movies, and we had fun, and we met great people, great young filmmakers from all over the world.
But COVID, okay, you're saying because
right, in COVID, how are you doing all of this work? Do you feel safe? Okay, wait. First, personal practice. How have you guys been living in COVID? Like you said, getting deliveries. I haven't been in a supermarket since March. Do you guys go to the market?
No. I've gone a couple of times to old person time. Like at 6, 7 in the morning. Yeah. Very carefully, and that went from gloves and the whole thing. And it's still really, really careful. I mean, there's someone outside who, tells you which baskets are clean or cleansed and all that. But very little, all the normal activities, no, I mean, everything. I wanted to take our little granddaughter up to meet the horses that Jules Stewart has. And, my daughter and her wife were like, not now, not for, I don't know when, maybe she'll hate horses by the time you want to do that. But we're just home. There have been we have gone on location. We have done some work. It's always, with unbelievable testing. They have COVID officers on set. You test every other day.
If they aren't, COVID ready for you, you don't go to the set when they're.
So how much have you been on set, you guys? Because there weren't even sets for the first 6 months, right? So that's only been the last few months. How the hell do you have 56 projects in this short? How is that even possible?
Well, because since the big guys can afford not to be shooting,
right?
The little indies have kind of taken over. I mean, their whole balance of everything has changed. First of all, he had to do the 5th installment of his Stalked by My Doctor movies. I mean, you can't not do that.
Yes.
They did it in a different state than they usually do it. And we started it and then had to start it again. We got 0 positive tests of anybody in the cast and crew. And it's really different. You wear your own clothes, you do your own makeup.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. People are bringing their own partners to do love scenes. I was in it with Eric this time.
I had to start wearing eyelash and strips instead of one at a time because it was so hard.
I'm serious. Okay, so you haven't been on any sets where there has been any COVID?
Well, no, we have one of the sets, only one. We have been working a lot. I mean, considering.
Yes, crazy.
For us, very little, but one of the sets all the way through, totally fine, so careful. My daughter does the catering. It's individually wrapped meals and she's tested and her delivery person's tested. One of the very last day of testing, someone in background tested positive. And he was really away from everybody the whole time, but everyone in the entire show who'd ever done the show then retested, and there were no other cases. It was just that one positive. He didn't get sick or anything, but he was positive.
Lucky.
That was the only time.
Because it's luck.
So has COVID hit you guys? Like, do you have people close to you who have gotten sick? And
we have people well, only in the surge. We had really nobody close to us the first time around. Right. And then with this surge, now we're noticing, several people close to us have had it, and a couple of them have been quite ill. They have not died, but one of them got really sick, and he was a doctor.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah.
So are you guys COVID? I mean, I was telling you before we went live that I lead the COVID crazies. How COVID crazy are you guys? I mean, do you still wipe? I still wipe everything down. I put the mask on before I bring in the pack. Do you still do all of that?
I do.
The only thing I do out of the ordinary is I wash my hands a lot, and I realized I never washed my hands before.
Men don't. My boyfriend never washes his hands. It's
once a day. I mean, honestly, once a day I would wash my hands, and now I'm doing it 30 times a day, so it's like very different, But
we want to meet your boyfriend,
so
even if he doesn't wash his hands.
He'll wash his hands before he shakes yours. So, but before you, okay, so you've done all of this shooting and filming. It was pointed out to me by a Whovian that you've been doing a lot of the books on audio books for Doctor Who, is right, as the master?
Sure, yeah.
So do you have a place in your home that you can record this stuff? How are you doing it?
Well, now we used to go to a studio that was in someone's home. Mm-hmm. And they have the best rescue dog, and it was just really wonderful. The producer's in England, and he'd fly over. Now we've become these total techies. Yeah. I mean, if Keaton was here, he could set it up for us.
Yeah, we'd be in heaven.
And he has a studio and stuff. But one time we were really scared because they were like, plug this into that, and then you test this way, and then you got the chip, and I was just like,
she pulled it off. She did the whole thing herself. I just had her in I don't know.
We do it remotely.
She did the whole thing herself.
We've done a whole movie that way. Yeah. Just right here where we're sitting right now.
Wait, stop. Tell us about that.
A few movies that way.
Tell us what you can tell us about them.
Okay, one is called After Masks.
Okay.
And it's about
I didn't get that for a second. Yes.
After Masks, and it's about this. There's a ton of great people in it, and we all filmed in our homes.
Yeah.
And you have the director on Zoom, and you do it remotely, and it's really amazing what they're able to do.
It's really fun.
There's they have different rooms. Literally, they have okay, we're in the tech room now. Now we're in the cast room. Now you do table reads, everything. And then we did another movie. It was just a working title, so but it's so funny. But it was completely, he was cast in it, but I read off camera with them, and they're like, "Who's reading with you? Because if she's in your pod, then we're putting her in it."
Yeah.
I love it.
And actually the first day of that shoot, we had someone who is in our pod, a young kid who knows. He came and teched it for us. That was amazing. But before we did the second day of shooting, someone he knew got COVID. And because he felt he might have been exposed, he never got it. That was when I had to do it all. I say I because he didn't help. He did great. A good acting job. But I mean, I was amazed by what I learned to do. I was shocked out of my skull.
She was our technique.
So, because I'm still the light just changed.
Yeah.
It's all right. You know what? There's no shadows now, so it's fine. We can see your beautiful faces.
Okay.
I've been very challenged when I first started doing this without a person to do my tech. There was a lot of disasters. The picture looked terrible for a while. The sound was awful. There was a learning curve to becoming a techie, which I would rather not have to do. But so you've made these series of films. You've gone out. Have you ever felt unsafe? Have you felt unsafe on any of these?
Yeah,
a couple of times, and you bring it up. You don't stay quiet and polite. You say, guys, you have to keep distance. We have to keep on the mask. We have to pay attention. Blah blah blah.
But you don't have to go crazy.
But that was also in the earlier days. Now everybody kind of really adheres to it. They're really good about it because nobody wants to get sick.
Okay, well, my experience is a little different. I do feel unsafe. And I'll sit there just saying, how stupid are we? How stupid are we? We're so dumb. I can't believe that. But you need to work. I mean, you need to work. And I feel terrible for everyone who just can't. But the difference, like I did a moral compass. Well, I mean, they've got it together. They say masks on, masks off. Everyone's got their mask on. Just when you're talking in your scene, you can't be there for people's off camera. They keep you apart as much as they possibly can. I mean, for your off camera, for them.
Right.
And if you have any kissing scenes, they
okay. How do you do that?
They bring in your other half, and your other half stands in for the actors and kiss you.
Yeah, that's what the soaps are doing.
I've been kissing her all the time lately.
That is so. I had no idea. That is so brilliant.
Cheat.
So brilliant.
Yeah.
I heard that they have mask wranglers on some set where you have a person who just hands you your mask and
your shield. We had that on Stalked. There was somebody who was just there to hand the shield, hand the mask, to take off the, crazy.
Okay, so you were talking about your pod. Like my son hasn't even been in my house since March. It's heartbreaking. I go to his backyard and I have full body plastic bags so I can hug and kiss him. I swear to God, I really do. And I was doing that with my beau for like 8 months too. So who's in your who's in your pod?
2 assistants.
No, we don't see them.
4.
No.
Well, we don't.
No, it's tiny.
Oh, I mean, who comes in? Who do you let in your house?
No. Only and this took a while. My daughter and the baby.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's wife is a nurse, so she kind of steers clear of almost everybody.
Right.
My students, I teach on Zoom. We have, my mom is gone from this earth.
I know. I'm so sorry about Lila.
I know that was really rough. It really, really is limited, Vic. What
about Keaton? Is Keaton in your pod?
He's in Nashville.
He's in Nashville, but when we were shooting Stalked, I did drive there. I had tests with me. I tested because of set. He and Hannah tested, and then I got to be there with them, and that was amazing. But they're really careful too. They don't see anybody.
For those of you watching at home, Keaton Simons will be with us next week, as long as there are still televisions working and the world has not blown up and gone crazy. Keaton's a trooper and he's willing to go ahead and do it. Wait till the last minute to find out. So so how was it okay, so driving to Nashville, I'm sorry, but to me, that scares the hell out of me. How do you stay in hotels? How do you safely do that?
Well, the hotels, you ask a lot of questions and you don't know if you believe their answers, but they tell you what protocols they're following and if they've had no cases and all that. Mostly you avoid hotels. There's like, for instance, when we did Stalked,
Right.
It was houses and they really had to go through a lot to be sure that everything was okay. This was after people weren't so worried about surfaces. So there were no people, like you didn't see the people. I tried to turn off those notifications, but I
That's okay. That's okay. Don't worry.
Just little iChat. So probably some of the audience are the ones iChatting.
I'm looking at the comments. So we'll go to some questions in a bit. Yeah.
But the planes are interesting. You have.
Oh my God, you flew?
We flew.
The only time I feel unsafe is on an airplane.
How the hell did you do that? Did you go to the bathroom on the plane? What did you do to protect yourselves on an airplane?
Airplane, for one thing, they serve nothing, not even a glass of water. I mean, they sometimes they serve one bottle of water. They're very strict themselves. And it's just completely no frills. There's nobody in the middle seat. We flew together, so it was just us. And even then, nobody. It was him at the window and me in the aisle. When he flew, there was nobody next to him at all. And people are just very, very far away from each other. I've done some filming at the airport and in the plane just to show what it's like. But it is scary. We haven't, since the surge, we have not flown. But Eric's about to fly.
Really?
Yeah, in a few days. And then you wonder if you're ever going to be able to come back.
So what I assume you're doing this for a role.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So how can you make yourself feel as safe as possible? I mean, I understand the seats are separate. You're not taking your mask. Do you have like special masks for when you fly, better than a surgical mask, something more protective than that?
We have them.
It's a lettered thing, like a V1 mask. So I forget the letter on it, but yeah, it's the only real mask to have on a plane, and you have to have that, and because then the germs you can't get in at all, and you have to keep it on, and
it's long.
And it is what it is, and the fact that we're inconvenience with the mask is not the end of the world as far as I'm concerned. It's really okay. And especially who I feel bad for are the kids, the teenagers, from 12 to 22, that's when you want to be all like snuggling close and flirtatious and talk and tell secrets and blah, blah, blah. And they can't do any of that. We're fine with it, but we've been married 150 years, it's different.
Is it 27? Is that the right number of years?
28.
28. Oh, I'm one behind. Okay. I knew the last time I saw you, it was 27. You guys are amazing. But it was something interesting as an aside. My daughter met her beau in COVID and they met on Tinder and they were just a couple of miles from each other and they did the whole thing on FaceTime for months. And then they finally met with masks. And then they decided they were both at the same level of precaution of not seeing or doing anything. So they put each other in each other's bubble and they've been living together for 6 months now.
Oh my God, that's
they're madly in love and it's a COVID love story.
And it's working.
Oh my God, that's incredible. So they already know because if you're living together, you're living together.
Yeah.
So
oh God, yeah.
There's
that is amazing. Congratulations.
I wasn't happy about it when I was terrified when it started, but and they've been also flying over the holiday, which I don't get to say.
We're flying just to visit. I can't imagine that. It feels too risky.
I just noticed something I want to share with you.
What?
Yes.
See my fingernail?
Yeah.
That's my first manicure by our granddaughter Georgia. Yeah, that's fingernail polish and like half a fingernail that she got on there.
She gave us all a manicure, including herself.
Yeah.
I hope that's the only manicure you've had in pandemic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it is. No, salons are closed. No,
No, well, I don't think the salons are closed actually, which is the thing that, they say we're in another stay at home, except for, and the except for is basically everything. Everything's open. It's
tons of traffic.
That's not smart.
No, it's not smart. It's scary.
All right, wait, I'm going to a question because I'm seeing it, even though we haven't gone into career yet. Can you ask Eric what he hopes is in store for Dr. Beck's character? What would he like to see in Beck's future? Do you think he'll ever find love and be happy?
Well, Dr. Beck is going to find religion, love, and settle down.
Oh,
Wow.
God. He's serious, Eric.
No, Dr. Beck has gone a little too far over the edge for me. It's gone a little slasher for my taste. I hope he gets a little more cerebral coming up. But he's actually become dangerous, which
he was always dangerous. But I understand what you're saying.
Danger's relative, though. He's become a physical danger to have on the streets now.
Yeah.
But
I know he's not going to say. I hope he doesn't settle down and find love. I mean, how can he? He's got quite a track record going on there. There is another installment that's going to air soon. So we want everybody to know.
Stalked by My Doctor, Part 5. We're up to
Stranger in the Attic, it's called.
It opens in an attic.
Okay, so since we're going to come back to career, but I got to thank you for you. So before we come back to career, since we were talking about being dangerous, let's talk about what happened today a little bit, because you guys are very political. You're very political in life, on your pages. You're socially forward-thinking humans and humanists. So what do you think about what happened today?
You want me to speak because they're so worried about it?
Well, very quickly, it's not about having an opinion or being on a side. It's about the fact of this is ridiculous. It's just a fact. What's going on is ridiculous. It's not an opinion or a choice. It's ridiculous. And it's pointless. It's embarrassing. It's a waste of time, and it's going to get in the way of the next administration. And that's really all I have.
I feel like, you're right. We're humanists. So for us, the bottom line is kindness. It's really don't contribute to suffering ever. So if everyone followed that, the hardest thing about this, Vicki, is, we all know in personal relationships how hard it is when you really see someone clearly and they don't see themselves clearly. That's painful. And, and when somebody's delusional or just not able to look in a mirror, we all have that somewhat. This is such a dangerous manifestation of that. There's no way that the people who are causing this harm are in any way capable of realizing the reality of this. They're not even able to realize the reality of the fact that everyone went out to vote to be sure that Trump was not reelected. And that's what happened. We succeeded at that. They don't even, they really don't. So the rage and frustration and fear that you feel, knowing these people have kids, they've been running around with no masks and stuff. And with this ideology and this rhetoric and these actions, they have children. That is child abuse right there. It's just, none of it's okay. This is, this is like being in an abusive relationship and not being able to get out. We're all in an abusive relationship and not able to get out.
Absolutely. Are you hopeful about the future?
Yeah, somehow. For you?
Well, you have to be. Yeah, you have to be, or you have to quit. So, yeah, sure.
Are you concerned about next Wednesday?
I'm concerned about it for everybody, not concerned about it for, I hope this mess up the inauguration, but just to mess up. Yeah. So everybody's going to be uncomfortable, and it's all because of one guy's unhappiness, and it's not fair to anybody involved. Mm-hmm. It's all because he's unhappy, so he's going to ruin a day for everybody, and it's millions of people he's going to ruin a day for. And even if he doesn't ruin the day, because of what's happened, the day's going to be tainted. The day's going to be shadowed, and it's not acceptable. And he's already ruined it, and it hasn't even come. and I really disrespect him for that totally, if not everything else he's done. But
Well,
he's
what do you think about, Eric, what do you think about the speech that he made today? A video obviously shot under great duress that he was forced, I'm sure, forced to do.
the fact that he left out that Joe Biden is our president remind the whole thing for me. But he had to do it because, look, 70 million people voted for him. Those 70 million people didn't storm the Capitol. What happened was Timothy McVeigh's stormed the Capitol,
Right.
and those are a minority. They aren't those 70 million who voted for him. Those are good Republicans. But the ones who stormed the Capitol are Timothy McVeigh's, and I hope the FBI really follows through and nails every single one of them for doing that. And it would be just fantastic. And that's what should happen.
Did you see the FBI warning just 2 hours ago? That
I've been working. What's the FBI warning?
It was about, well, see, I'm afraid of I'm afraid for Kamala, and I don't know if there's enough security to even protect her and Biden. Well, I knew that the warning was that they plan to attack the capital of every state. What's the new thing a couple hours ago?
So this is what the FBI said. This is what the New York Times posted just about 2 hours ago. Federal intelligence officials warned that armed militia groups and racist extremists are targeting the presidential inauguration next week. Federal officials warned police chiefs in major cities during a call on Wednesday to be on high alert with generous intelligence in police departments around the country amped up for preparations for the week leading into the inauguration.
It makes me so sad because it's so frightening for all the wrong reasons. Oh my God, this is not cool.
It's really, really scary. I mean, it's a whole other world. Nothing we've experienced in America ever.
I mean, I think Trump's in the White House because of the reaction to Obama. It's like a slingshot. Okay, let's go the other way because we do that. We love going A and then go Z and then go back to A. We do that all the time. And it just makes me so disheartened to think that we're not kind enough to want good things for those who come after us, and since that's the easy part, why don't we do that? Just be, as my wife is famous now for saying and has taught me to live by, she goes, when in doubt, give. And if you have a question about it, give. And
I love this about you guys. When did this start for each of you that you became socially aware, humanly? Were you raised this way? Did it come?
She kind of came out of the womb this way. I only started adapting this properly at about our 1,000th day together, in our 3rd or 4th year together. But yeah, I too, believe in this. I didn't have to turn 180, but to practice it when you're not, built that way, which I'm not, was a strain, and I had to learn to enjoy it, like you learn how to enjoy fans, and you learn how to enjoy them.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Tell us how you learned to enjoy fans, Eric. Seriously.
Well, when they first ascend upon you, they make you nervous.
Yeah.
But then you realize every one of them has had an experience with you that they treasure. That's why they're there in the room with you. That's why they're there. Right. And once you realize that, really, once you're in their shoes, you can be with them. And once you're with them, you've made a memory for both of you.
That's a beautiful thing. I adore that. So let's go back to somebody asked, and it's a good place to jump in. What character did you play on Another World? I put in the post that's where you started. That I was an Another World addict. How did you get on Another World? How did that start for you, Eric?
It was one of the first auditions I ever got with the manager I had for about 10 years. And I got the part, but I was a trained stage actor, and I was very serious. And I was okay actor. I wasn't great, but I was solid. And but I was terrible on that. I mean, I was embarrassingly bad on that. I mean, I'm probably one of my 3 biggest fans, but I was horrible.
Wait, what character were you? Because I don't even remember, honestly.
I played the first Ted Bancroft.
Oh God.
And yeah, they fired me. Yeah, sure. No, Paul Roush calls me and I'm doing the show for about, 4 or 5 months. He calls me and he goes, "Have a seat, young man." I do. He goes, "Are you a writer?" I said, "No, sir." "That's right. You're not a writer. You are an actor. And why do you keep rewriting your dialogue?" And I very proudly said, "Never change another actor's cue, sir." He said, "That's not the point. The point is you can't change your dialogue. If you do it again, I'll fire you." I said, "Okay, yes, sir." Went back to work. And I was a good boy for about 10 days. And then I changed the line. He calls me again, "You're fired." And
wow.
that was it. Yeah.
Okay, that leads to a question, and we'll come back to the career building, but how the hell do you learn your lines at this stage of life? I'm 65. I can't keep 5 things in my head. How do you learn lines at this stage of life? I'm serious.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Yeah. I have no problem learning lines, one show at a time. No problem at all. I got a show, I got to learn my lines. I'm an actor, that's what I do. But when you have a show on Friday, you have a show on Saturday, and it's a night shoot Saturday, and you're going to have to go have to do a pickup shot early Sunday morning after you wrap Saturday night. And oops, yeah, you have to rewrite of that scene that they didn't get shot the other week. You say to them, "Okay, I can do it all. I'll need cue cards." And so about 1 out of 3 ends up being on cue cards. But you have to be very familiar with it. So you glance at the card, you don't stop and read it. You just
right.
That is. You just glance, you know what it says, and you keep talking. As opposed to talking about, "Oh, yeah, read my card." You don't do that because that's it. So you have to do homework, but you don't have to stay up all night and not sleep.
Do you have a trick for memorizing?
Do a trick.
Do I have a trick? Yeah, it's called repetition. Everybody's trick, over and over and over until, oh yeah, that's what that is.
Do you start with like the first line and keep doing the first line until you have the first line, then you move on? Do you do a paragraph? Do you do a line by line? How does the repetition?
I do it beat by beat. Whatever the beat is, whatever the subject is, I learn those lines or those phrases, and then I move on. Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't do my homework to remember this. Georgia, are you from Georgia?
I spent half my young life in Georgia, about 8 years in a row. Yeah.
We love Georgia very, very, very much. We love Georgia. So how did this bug hit you? How did it start for you, Eric? And then we'll talk to you, Eliza, about yours.
That's great.
I had a terrible stutter as a kid, and I found out
wow.
that if I memorized things, I could talk without stuttering.
Really?
So it became freedom. Oh my God, I could speak. If I knew what I was going to say, I could talk without stuttering. I had a terrible stutter. It was so horrible that in grammar school, when everybody goes around the room and reads, I would stutter and the whole class would laugh. I would never get through what I had to read because everybody would laugh and then move on. So I was very self-conscious about it. But if I memorized stuff, I could talk. So it was just,
wait, Eric, did somebody teach you this trick, or did you figure this out for yourself?
I found it out on my own. And then I would count the kids, and I would count the lines, and I would learn mine. Invariably, somebody would mess up, and but that's okay. It would happen now and then. But yeah, it just became a really handy tool at first. Then it became fun. Then I got good at it. Then I got what I thought was very good at it. Then I decided, hey, I'm better than all these guys in this room. And then I decided I'm going to be an actor. And I've always chased it, and I've always loved it. And I met somebody who's as good or better actor than I've ever been. And I like her, and I can turn to her and say, I need help on this thing. And she's become she's coach. Everybody's anybody anyway, but I have an in-house coach.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Eliza, how did you start? How did the bug hit you?
Let me just say one thing before she starts, because my wife won't ever tell you this. She's from show business royalty. Her father's an Oscar winner. He wrote a bunch of screenplays that everybody knows.
Tell us what they are.
Wrote and produced and directed all the Lucy series, all the black and white ones. It did was one of the co-writers in All in the Family, all kinds of big stuff on TV. And she's from showbiz royalty in both film and television. I mean, classic television. Dick Van Dyke. I mean, stuff that's really cool. She'll never tell you this, so I had to.
I'm glad you did.
That was definitely part of the catching the bug. It is true.
Hey, tell us your father's name. Did Eric say your father's name?
My biological father was David Raphael. And
he wrote 3 Days of the Condor, Out of Africa, The Way We Were, The Firm, etc.
Unbelievable.
One of the writers on, shall we say, because there were other writers, of course. And then my adopted dad, whom I considered to be my dad, was Don Garrett, who was a publicist for, everything, the Jackson 5, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, just tons of great stuff.
Michael Jackson after he was on his own.
Right. My mom was Lila Garrett, who's an Emmy Award-winning sitcom writer, producer, director. And then my stepfathers were Mort Lockman and Bernie Kahn. I mean, everybody was in the business. So I started, it first got to me when I was just a little girl and I did like Wonderama or something, just as a kid on a set. I mean, a baby, like a 3-year-old. And then the first school play. And I just was so madly in love with it. That particular way of pretending for a living, basically. But I hid it and pretended I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to wait until it was happening before I acknowledged that I loved this thing. I didn't want to be wanting, I wanted to be there. So I really did hide it for a really long time. But I knew immediately. It's just, some people are like, oh, I performed, it was horrible, I never want to do that again. But for those of us who love it, it's just, it's incredibly compelling. And
somebody just said you were on episodes of All in the Family. I don't think I knew that. Was that through Lila that you did that?
It was through Mort Lockman, my stepdad, who was the executive producer. He had a role. He was looking for somewhere to stick me in there. And so he had a role. Ellen Travolta and I were both on the show.
Wow.
And so he, both of us were there, and it was so cute. John came to the taping, and I mean, it was so much fun. So so Mort gave me a part in the show, and people always hit me up and they're like, I saw you on All in the Family. I kind of forgot about having done it, but it was amazing. That was an amazing week. I mean, this was not the doing of it, but besides the show being what it was very memorable because that kind of talent, oh my God, it was just incredible. Those people were amazing.
So before we move back to Eric, how did Animal House? I mean, you are in one of the most iconic movies that has ever been, and you are in like one of the most iconic scenes of the most iconic movie. So how did that happen for you? And did you know when you were doing it that it was? Did you have any clue?
We had no clue. None of us had any clue, and people should be aware of that because you think that you'd know. You know that you're going to make it, or you know that the movie's going to be, you do not know. I mean, you can feel both at the same time. You can be like, oh, this is it. And also, I have no idea. In this case, we thought it was a big inside joke. Like we were shooting and we just thought, nobody's going to get this movie. We're just cracking ourselves up. We didn't know at all. It was so not fancy and it didn't feel like a big movie. Plus comedies, long form comedy, they didn't hit the way that Animal House did in those days. That was really nuts. The way it came about, I went to Oakwood here in Los Angeles. John Landis had gone to Oakwood before I ever started. He's a little older, and he'd been thrown out very early in his high school career. Yeah, he like jumped off the roof of a building into the swimming pool or so. I mean, like he just drove them crazy. So he retired from education and started making 8mm films in his mom's house. And then I moved to England, and he was over in Europe. He snuck onto the set of Kelly's Heroes and got himself a role as a nun. And he was touring around Europe, and I was in a production of The Crucible. I was 16 years old in England, and he saw it. And when I came back to the States, and by then I was 17, I got a phone call. He said, I'm doing a movie called Schlock. I want you to star in it. It's $50 a day, $25 deferred. And I did Schlock, and then I got John and I became really good friends. And then I got another call from him when I was pregnant with Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I'm doing another movie. It's called Animal House. I have to have a girl. It's a great part. She has to take her shirt off. I can't stand these auditions. It's so embarrassing. And so, you know, we're friends. Just will you do the role? That was the other role, Shelley Dubinsky, the one with Tim Matheson. And I said, sure, but you should know I'm pregnant. So taking my shirt off, you know, when are you shooting? Today? Because that might work. And he was like, oh, we don't start for like 4 months. Okay, wait. And he just called me back a few minutes later. He's like, okay, I wrote another role for you. And that's how I am. No.
Wow, I love that. Okay, so somebody just said, rest in peace, Fawn Leibowitz. So, okay, so Eric, so how did it turn for you from your disastrous Another World to, what was the first thing that went right for you?
It was called King of the Gypsies. And
Oh, God, what a film.
After Another World, I got in the repertory company of Joe Paps at the Public Theater. And he used me.
Now, did you study theater in school? Well, you said that you studied acting.
I grew up doing theater. I did my first play at 4. Of course, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was in a play at 4. And I got in repertory theater, so I was doing 8 to 12 plays every year of my life from the time I'm 5 years old till I leave home. And
now, wait, were your parents theater people?
My mom and dad opened an acting school called
That's
the
what I thought. Okay.
Writers Workshop, sponsored in part by the Martin Luther King Foundation, and my father patterned it after Joe Paps Theater in New York. And
Wow.
we had a showmobile, and we toured the underprivileged areas all week, and had theater in the park on the weekends on the big stage, and we would do 8 to 12 plays a year, and that's how I grew up. Every year of my life, my whole life has always been show business. And
wow. Well, okay, so how did King of the Gypsies happen?
I got fired from Another World. I went back to the theater, and because that's only people who would have me. And then my manager at the time said, "There's this movie that the director and the writer is Frank Pearson." He is. I said, "Yeah, I'm a fan." You know, he wrote, produced a movie she was in just before mine, Barbra Streisand's A Star Is Born. Anyway, it was Frank Pearson. He won an Oscar for Cat Ballou, and he wrote Dog Day Afternoon. All kinds of big guy. Anyway, a big star writer director, and he wrote and directed the Last Star Is Born, like I said. Anyway, he was doing this movie based on Peter Moss's biography called King of the Gypsies. It was a true story about this kid who was a Romanian gypsy. And so he gave me the script. I read it. I auditioned a couple of times. I got a screen test. I went in. Frank Pearson told De Laurentiis, "That's who I want." He said, "That's who you want." So you got, and I got a movie career just like that. Bang.
So so how did you move? You moved from one film into another after that, didn't you?
No, I got that film, and I got offers for everything, and wanted to do everything.
Okay, wait. What did you turn down? Tell me something you turned down that you're sorry you turned down.
Well, I'll bring up the first one that broke my heart, and that I was guided to turn it down because he said if I played it, it was going to be a hit, and I was going to be cast an adolescent for the next 30 years. So be careful if you get famous for playing adolescents. Be smart. Don't do it. So I didn't do it. It was called Breaking Away, and it's a bicycle movie.
Right.
And I really wanted to play that part. I've got really skinny ass legs, but I really wanted to play that part. But I was talked out of I was talked out of a 3-picture deal because they wanted to make me into a matinee idol or whatever it is. And I was a great actor, so I had held out. So I did. For what, I don't know. But anyway, so a bunch of things I don't regret, because everything led to what I did, and I love what I did, and I've loved my life. So I don't have a complaint about it.
Good.
But there are things that I missed that I shouldn't have. But besides that, I've been really lucky, and I have this, and I'm really happy and proud of this.
You guys are pretty amazing. I want what you guys are. You guys are great. And you know what I love most about you guys is the respect that you have for each other. Above and a lot of people love each other. A lot of people are attracted to each other. A lot of people like each other. But the respect that you guys have and show to each other is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Wow, she makes it feel really bad. I have said the worst things you can say to anybody to this woman.
Well, not in front of me. You haven't.
Yeah.
So Eric, somebody just asked if they could. Oh, first, I just want to say that it's been noted on the thread that people think Stalked by My Doctor is some of the greatest work that you've ever done in your career. By the way,
Wow,
it's true. I agree.
You know why I make those movies? For one reason: they're fun to make.
Are they?
As simple as that. Because the first one, it started weird because I was making a movie. I was in night shoots, but I read the script, Stalked by My Doctor. I said to my wife, I want to play this part, but they got to change the title. I can't do a thing called Stalked by My Doctor because now you're stuck with it. Because the whole series of movies, they want to do 2 of them, and they want to call them the Stalked by My Doctor movies. Oh, Eliza, okay, but I really like it. But here's the problem. I'm in this movie that's very dialogue heavy in night shoots. It ends in night shoots, the last week in night shoots. And
right.
Next morning, I'm on the Stalked by My Doctor set. And I have lots of dialogue. I need cue cards. Okay, so she asked for it, and they say yes. But I arrive on the set. I left another set. I've been working all night. I arrive on the set, and I said, "Thank God I'm here. I love your movie." And the writer director says to me, "Did you even read it?" Because I had the cue cards, he thought I was just going to read cards.
Oh God!
But it crushed me because I was there because I loved his work so much, and he was already insulted, and we didn't even know each other yet. So it got off to a rough start, but it became great because we both loved what we were doing. He's a great writer, and he was a fun director, and we had a great time together, as it turned out. But so then we made this movie, and it went through the roof at where is it? Not TNT. Lifetime. It went through the roof. So they said, we're going to make another like we wanted to. Yay. And it went into the roof even bigger. So we're going to make 3. And it went bigger. We're going to make 4. It went bigger. So
wow.
Now we're at 5. And they're just fun to make. The only complaint I have is they're becoming a little slashery. I would like them to be more cerebral. Each film, I like kill more people.
Somebody just said you can tell that you love playing the part, that it shows.
Yeah,
it's so much.
It really is vintage Eric Roberts work. I mean, we've had people great established. David Duchovny watches them and has said to me, Eric is so courageous in that performance. I mean, he really, goes so deep. It's really good work. You don't expect it. You think it's a Lifetime movie. It is what it is. The Stalked by series goes beyond doctor. That was the point, was they were doing Stalked by My Babysitter, Stalked by My Teacher. It had to be Stalked by.
Right.
But he really does put his heart and soul into it. So you get the vulnerability and everything. I mean, it's weird. You wouldn't expect it in this, but it gives him a chance to do all that. And he cares. Plus now he plays 2 or 3 characters in it. He plays his own alter ego. And it's like part of the reason it's fun is the people. We love that group. They're organized.
My favorite producer of my adult life.
Really?
Yeah. And Sanders.
So, yeah.
we adore them.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, Star 80. Okay. Maybe one of the most terrifying, maybe the most, I don't think I could watch it. Like, I want to watch it again because I want to watch it now that I know you, but I don't know if I can watch it again. It took me a long time to be able to watch you in something else because you scared the shit out of me in that movie.
You know why I have to watch it again now is because now that you know me, you know it's a movie, you know it's a performance, blah, 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 blah. Watch it again for the movie making. Bob Fosse made the most incredible documentary drama ever made in the history of cinema. That film is so incredible. Bob Fosse was a genius. And it's an overused and abused word, but he was a genius. And that movie is genius. And that movie makes you feel you lived that experience.
Totally live that experience. Did you know when you were making that movie, did you have any idea of what you were doing? Did you know what you were doing when you were doing it?
Good question.
That's a great big question. And I've been asked that very specifically many times. And I used to answer that from 1983 to 1993, I would say, yeah, I knew what I was doing. But then as I've gotten older, I realized I told Bob Fosse, you know, I'm your puppet. Tell me what you want to do. I can do anything, but you got to tell me exactly what you want. He said, you got a deal. And that's how we worked together. He would say, I want A, B, C, D, and I want red. I want scarlet red. Because tomorrow we're going to go pink. He was talking all these images like that.
Wow.
But we had a great thing going on, and we killed it. I was his puppet.
Can I say something about Star 80? Because it actually ties into what we were talking about the conditions of the world and some of people's actions.
Absolutely, please.
You know, when people talk about their childhood and they talk about, well, I don't understand why people are in therapy or in program or whatever treatment.
Right.
You know, that's old history. Are you over it? Don't you grow out of it? No, the psyche. It's a perfect example. The character he played in Star 80, the people who are perpetrating these crimes against other people and against the world now, Donald Trump himself, there are reasons, there are psychological reasons why people end up in this condition. And it's really easy to condemn and hate them and everything. But the fact is, you have to get ahead of it before it ever happens. And, you know, this was a disturbed person that he played who, you know, it manifested. And you can just say, oh, he was evil. Probably not. My mom and Phil Donahue did a thing years ago, Vicki, that, I mean, she was so ahead of her time, and so was Phil Donahue. They interviewed a bunch of white supremacists and racists.
Wow.
And they interviewed them and their children. And the people allowed their children because they were proud of what the ideology they taught their children.
Right.
And you have 3 and 4-year-olds saying horrible racist things, not knowing. And even some of the kids saying things like, but I don't understand why my daddy feels that way about, you know, people of color, whatever, because I have a friend in school, but I can't tell my daddy. And it breaks your heart. And you realize this person is going to be damaged forever through no fault of his own. They also did interviews years later. She put this together with Warren Beatty and Phil Donahue and Marlowe, of some of the kids. Many of them stayed that way. They stayed hateful, and some of them didn't. They broke away from their families, became exactly the opposite, found their way back to their families, and there was all this healing that went on. But after the fact, you can't fix it. It's an ounce of prevention. That's why we're so into the Natural Child Project, which is an Alice Miller based thing. This is a person who's
tell about that a little bit.
Jenna, okay, Alice Miller wrote a book called For Your Own Good. She studied the Nazis and Nazi culture and how did Hitler become the monster he became. And it's all child abuse and, you know, but really severe mental bending. And a woman.
Are we to say that this is part of what happened to the idiot in chief? Because they say his father was that way, right?
100%, because most abuse is not overt. It's very subtle. It's tiny things that many of us think are okay to say to kids that are not okay at all. They're doing a storyline on This Is Us about that right now, where this poor woman was just bent by her father thinking he was doing the right thing. And it was such horrible, mind-bending abuse. It destroyed many lives, generations of lives. So yeah, so this is, yeah, absolutely. Trump is horrifically damaged. He's obsessed right now with this thing. He has these delusions. We can say, oh, he's a liar, like it's an accusation. Yeah, he's a liar. It's a sickness and a dangerous one. Paul Snider was an incredibly dangerous and very, very sick guy.
Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Eric, when you were preparing for Paul Snider, did you had to have empathy for him? You had to love yourself, right? Did you love yourself? I still hatred also, but how did you embody him?
Paul Snider didn't love himself, so I didn't have that to carry. But
didn't love himself, but I mean,
but here's the thing about
you found what to love in him, I assume, is what I'm trying to say. Eric Roberts found what to love in Paul, I would imagine.
It's not, that's the wrong terminology, because it gives the wrong image.
Okay, so tell me what's.
You find acceptance, you find comfort, you find satisfaction. You don't find and that's as close as you can get as far as the intimate feelings that you have as yourself for things, like, you know, when you feel love for a person and stuff. You can't go there through other characters, or at least I can't.
Okay.
I can't get that. But Paul, you know, I spent time with his brother, and his brother was, I was told, a calm version of him. We didn't spend a lot of time together, but just minutes. And
right.
And I got a glimpse into the whole, like, physicality, and I just well.
You were so specific in that. You were so.
Here's where the specificity comes from. It's from one. What said it for me?
Specificity, but okay.
Specificity comes from.
Yeah.
His posse says to me one day, we're doing a scene. It was probably in the second week of shooting, and we shot, you know, for almost 6 months. So
wow.
I'm playing guitar in my underwear, and I'm singing a song, and I messed up the song, and I said cut. Well, you don't say cut on a Fosse set unless you're Fosse. He wants to have everything play out.
Right.
He gets kind of bothered. He goes, come here. And he walks away. And I said, what's going on? Come here. And he walks across this huge soundstage of Zoetrope, walks the other side of it. So it's kind of half a football field big. So I have to walk over there in underwear with my guitar. And I walk over there. What's up, dude? He goes, look at me. I said, I'm looking at you. Look at me. I said, I'm looking at you. He goes, you're playing me if I weren't successful. Do you understand? And
wow.
On the way back to the set, I watched how he walked, and I started playing Bob Fosse.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard you tell that before. That's amazing.
Yeah, but if you ask Eric, it's very interesting what you were saying, Vicki. You're on the exact right track. Eric would say, he didn't say it right now, but he would say, well, Paul Snider, you know, he started Chippendales, which was a brilliant idea. And if he hadn't gotten his own way, he would have done very well. Now, that's what you expect to hear from the guy. You know, that there's, hey, there are good qualities. Wait, he would have been a winner if only they hadn't this or he hadn't that.
If he hadn't killed her and killed himself,
see what I mean?
He'd have been fine.
I don't know. The point is, yes, he definitely had the thinking. He was behind in the thinking of the guy, not aware of it. I mean, to me, that was less a performance. It was more channeling of something that God knows how he tapped into it. Just, I mean, when he walked into Hefner's house as Snider and had that kind of wannabe losery, wanting to be in the in crowd for all the wrong reasons and thinking you are when everybody is turned off to you and you think you're, you know, you're wonderful and that the seas are parting for you.
Right.
And Eric, that's so not Eric. Like when we go to an event, Eric's kind of like, oh, do we have to be here? Can we go home now? I mean, he doesn't need anybody to notice him. He doesn't fit in anywhere in Hollywood. And this guy, I've never seen, I don't even know if Eric could describe that quality. I have no idea where he got it. Just pure intuition and instinct. But he definitely was able to, he doesn't do it that much because I think I've made him self-conscious about it. He would defend Paul Snider, just like Paul Snider would defend Paul Snider.
That's what I imagined. Yeah.
It happens. That really happens.
I wouldn't defend Paul
terrible.
Snider. What I said, but it is true. I've said it 1,000 times. Look, Chippendales, he'd have gotten very rich, very successful. He'd have been happy. He'd have shut up. He'd have been satisfied that he accomplished something. He'd left her alone if he hadn't gone that far yet. It'd have been okay.
No, because he was destined for that other thing because of his psychological.
I know you're right, and I hate it.
You know, it's crazy. Before I sat down with you guys last time, I interviewed Peter Bogdanovich and spent many hours with him. Dorothy Stratton being his
obsession.
Yes, and so hearing his take on that whole thing, very interesting. But
very.
do you? I don't want to say, do you forgive him? How do you forgive him? He monstrous.
Paul Snider?
Yeah.
Oh no, you can't. No, that's.
So you can't forgive him, but you have.
But I had to play him, so I
had empathy, right? You had to have empathy to play him, right?
I think empathy.
Is that the wrong word?
Wrong word too, because I think that's kind. I think what it is when you recognize something and you get a hold of it and you can own it, that you just pretend it's okay to be that. And you get through it. And then when you're done with it, you go, wow, I'm tired. That was hard. And
so Eric, do you take that stuff home with you when you're playing a character like that? Are you a method actor? Are you an inside out, outside in? When you're playing somebody like Paul, what do you like when you go home?
I do whatever works for the moment and the part and the circumstances, Bubba, and it's always different and it's always evolving. It's always changing. Mm-hmm. And it's like life. Every day is supposedly the same. You get up, eat, you go to work, you come home, you eat, you kiss your wife, you go to bed. But every day is very different. Well, it's the same thing in acting. It's the same thing in your character and your homework. Every day is the same, but every day is completely different. And you just. I
just want to tell you, my beau tells me that all the time. Every day is different, and I want to. No, how can't you be the same just a little bit? It makes her saying. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that flow, but it just hear that. And by the way, I just want to say I just got a text from my daughter that I couldn't help noticing. She just got cast in a film in a small film and in this film Cooperative. She just got the role. She did.
Congratulations!
Yay! She went to Tisch. She went to NYU Tisch, and so this is a very exciting thing for her. So let's talk about the Pope of Greenwich Village, because I don't know if it gets more iconic than that. I mean, everybody was writing on the thread, "You took my thought." It's like on the minds. Anybody who's in our generation can hear that line, can see you in that part. What was that like? What was that experience like for you?
Well, let me start at the beginning and go very quickly for you.
Okay.
In January of that year, we made that movie, 1984, 5, 6, whatever that was. It was January of that year. I was up in Hartford doing, Glass Menagerie because Tennessee Williams had just died. So I was playing in Tom Wingfield like everybody else in the world was that month. And I got sent this book and a screenplay by Vincent Patrick, called The Pope of Greenwich Village. I was told, pick apart by the producers. Pick apart, look at the book, pick apart. I read the book, I read the script, I picked Paulie. They said, we wanted you to pick Charlie. I said, why? They said, because he's handsome, he's a leading man, he's cool like you, blah, blah, blah. We thought you'd pick Charlie. And he's got cool clothes. And we know you'll like clothes. I said, nah, but Paulie's a better part. If I can play it the way I want to play it, and the way it's written, he's a tough street thug, and he's even got a deep voice, and he's even described as a big guy. I want to play him like a weasel. I want to play him like all these guys that I watch downtown who are mama's boys, but they want to be tough guys. I want to play that. You guys got to let me play that so I can play this part like that. They said, you got it. Now that's January.
Right.
So I had February, March, April, May, June, July, and August. And I lost 30 pounds and I permed my hair. And I learned every line.
First of all, how did you do that? You were skinny to begin with. How the hell did you lose 30 pounds?
I would like 160 pounds, and I got down to 130 pounds.
But how did you do that?
I just stopped eating. I didn't know anything about dieting then, and I didn't know anything. I would eat a fruit in the morning, and kind of stupid dessert in the evening. That's what I ate. That's how I lost that weight.
Wow, maybe I'll try that.
Maybe I'll try that. Stop it.
No, I'm actually on Lynn Fit. I'm in my birthday. Okay, so
nothing. I just did that.
Okay, so you show up and you have permed hair and you've lost 30 pounds. And what's the reaction when you get on set?
Well, no, I'm not on set yet. We the then director asked for 2 weeks of rehearsal. Great, cool, we'll do that. I love rehearsal.
Yeah.
So I show up ready to go. And after the third day of rehearsal, he asked me to stay out. It was just me and Mickey in rehearsals. And after the third day of rehearsals, he asked me to stay after and talk to him. So I do. So what's up, dude? He goes, why are you so skinny? As if I have a drug problem. I'm like, because I want to be a walking spaz attack. He goes, why'd you perm your hair? I said, same thing, walking spaz attack. He goes, what is a walking spaz attack? He's all, when John Belushi, only skinny. He goes, dude,
wow,
this guy's a tough thug. You're playing a sissy. And I said, no, that's how he's written, but I told the producers I was going to do this. I hope this isn't a surprise. He goes, no, it's just we totally disagree. He said, this isn't the movie I want to make. He says, I would like you to resign. I said, well, wow, let me think about it. I was going nowhere. I've been working on this for 8 months. I mean, this is my love of my life at that moment in my life. And I've been sleeping with this girl for 8 months every day. I really like her. You know, I'm not going to give her up that easy. And so I said, well, let me think about it. But I walk around the hotel. Thinking, wow, I was so excited to come be so ready to play this part after 8 months of getting ready. And God. So I go up to Mickey's room. Mickey, the director asked me to resign. What? So we call the producers and we tell the producers, and they fired that director, and they brought in Stuart Rosenberg, who directed a great movie called The Pope of Greenwich. So that's it in a nutshell. And Mickey Rourke was the hardest, most difficult, most unprepared genius I have ever enjoyed working with. He was a nightmare, but you know, he's brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. The most unprepared, and yet he pulled in that performance. That was just.
He would show up hours late every day, never know his lines. He would say, we had the same conversation every day. Hey, Ace, sorry I'm late. What are we shooting? I'd say scene 87. I know the number. What happens?
God.
This, and this. Oh, wow. You know your lines? Yeah, good. Because he knew nothing. So,
wow.
So my character is kind of based on me giving myself my own cues. Yeah.
Wow.
But the relationship that he and I developed really came off, and it worked.
I'm giving a thank you to you from Ron Fitzsimmons for supporting his charity, Alicia's Kids.
I'm glad he's watching. Hi,
we
Ron.
love that.
Yeah.
And somebody said that. Somebody's thanking you for something else. Somebody's saying what a heartthrob you are.
Yes, we've done that thing.
Eliza, they want you to know that they love Keaton, and
Oh, good.
How nice to hear. We love Keaton.
and we're going to talk about Keaton in a minute in terms of what happened with celebrity, but rehab. We'll go to that in a second. But okay, so last film that I want to ask you about specifically, to get nominated for Runaway Train. I mean, after all your body of work for that to be, so what was Runaway Train like for you? How was that experience for you?
Well, it was interesting because, and that was also a real, character change from the script.
Oh, really?
Same with Pope. We had to undo it. Well, that was also, he was in prison for statutory rape. Okay, so that's the thing that's very tricky. So you got to play somebody that's also, believable that that's why you're there, but it's not going to gross you out where you can't watch him.
Right.
So you walk a line, so you can't, play somebody who likes little girls, but you can't be an innocent. So he was written also a tough guy from New York. And I said, I can't forgive a tough guy from New York for sleeping with somebody underage. I can't forgive that. That's not comfortable. That doesn't sit well with me. But if I can talk like this, so I have kind of a child's voice, so I made a boo-boo. Well, she said she was 14. She said she was 19. I didn't know she was 14. I didn't know. Had I known, I'd have never kissed her. So it's understandable how it could happen. So I said to the guys, our producers, who are both from Israel, I said, I'm going to play this with a Southern accent, and I'm going to also make his voice kind of high, so he talks like this, so he's not dangerous sounding, And they said they couldn't hear accents. They're from Israel. They don't know. They just said, go, do it. So then, and also my director was Russian, so he didn't hear an accent. So I just did that, and it worked. And also, I just want to say, because it gets overlooked, because we as actors, we talk about ourselves way too much. Jon Voight, that portrayal, he weighed 160 pounds when he played that part. He's 6'2". He was a whale, but he wears the whole bodysuit, so he looks like a monster, and he plays a monster, and he's brilliant. He's brilliant. And watch Coming Home and Runaway Train back to back. You can't believe that actor.
I just watched Midnight Cowboy. I hadn't seen it in a million years, and it's astounding. He's astounding.
It's a great movie. I mean, it's an unbelievable film.
Yeah.
But the portrayal in Coming Home, the portrayal in Runaway Train. Amazing. Oh my God, man.
What was he like to work with?
You know what was great about John and I is John and I are on opposite ends of the political spectrum.
Right.
And I've been warned about that. I've been told you're going to be uncomfortable, dude. You're not going to be happy. I'm sorry. John's going to make
a liberal Democrat.
John's going to make you very unhappy, Eric, because he's the opposite of what you are politically. I'm like, I'm not going to talk politics with John. I'm not. And we never did, not once. It never crossed our mind. We just taught work every day, all day, and we killed it. And but just work. And as a working mate, he's one of my 3 favorites of my 43-year career.
Okay, tell me the other 2.
Well, this is one.
Yeah. And?
You think I'm good?
Yeah, but I'm gonna hold it.
Okay.
But yeah, John's one of my very favorites I ever worked with, because he and I killed it, and we would like plan our killings. Okay, I'm doing this, you're doing this for this, and we'll bye and go. And we just killed it. And we had a director who didn't even speak English, very well. So he and I we had the best time together. Just 2 actors killing it. We had so much fun. And that train was frightening. Was it
for real?
40 miles an hour. In fact, I joined the Stuntmen's Association in 1982 because of these circumstances that happened. I got in the Stuntmen's Association, so I was doing stunts. Wow! And then I'm on Runaway Train with John, a stunt double, and I'm behind him on the outside of the train, and we're walking, and the train's going about 40 miles an hour, and it's cold.
Oh my God!
And we're all tied off and everything, and we're safe. But I slipped about this much, and I realized wow, I could be dead. And I never did another stunt. I'll do this in a fight scene. Oh, okay, good. And that's all I do. That's all I do.
Wow.
Because I
So
realized I have no business doing that stuff. I don't know who I thought I was, but I'm not a stuntman. And I'm just not brave anymore like that.
okay, so I have two questions from the peanut gallery here. One is, if you could pick one of your roles to reboot, what would it be?
What does that mean?
To do
In other words, if they revisited one of your films, which one do you think you would most?
Well, only with Mickey, but it would be Pope. But here's what we have to do, because your Mickey looks like a different person now.
Yes, he
You have
does.
to open up with him being badly beaten up because of something I caused, because I'm the F up in this relationship.
Wow.
Being hurt. So I then have to take care. So I have to be his partner, even though he hates it. And so that's how it has to start. And we have to go from there.
You know,
So,
I hope somebody who could make that happen is listening to this, because that would be brilliant.
we have to make it believable in how Mickey looks now, or else that's all they'll talk about. So we have to make it, validate. It looks different in why.
That is a brilliant idea. Okay, another question that I just saw is, how did you gain the weight back? How did you get healthy again after losing that 30 pounds so quickly? Did it take you a while to get back to yourself, or?
Well, the next movie that I made after that was the Coca-Cola Kid in Australia, and I just gained it back very slowly off Australian seafood, and that's what I did. Yeah.
That's cool. And so how is it to work on like The Dark Knight, which is like, I'm going to move into like The Dark Knight and Doctor Who, and like, because those are completely different characters for you. So when things have a lot of special effects and all of that stuff, do you enjoy that? What's that like for you?
I got a great story for you. Okay. Dark Knight, all the Chicago stuff in Chicago. Then we're supposedly going to Pinewood. We both shot at Pinewood. We know Pinewood, and we like it. Great, we're going to Pinewood. We love Pinewood. Here we go. And we go over there. No, it's not Pinewood. It's up at the old Zeppelin hangar, which is 30 miles north of London. And the Zeppelin hangar is about 3 stories tall and about 3 football fields wide. And it's where they had the Zeppelin in 1909, or whatever it was, 1910, 1912, whatever it was. And you walk in, they open the doors, and bang, it's all Gotham City. And if you're a movie geek, which I am, you're in heaven. It is so cool. It is so cool. And it just takes you back to this is.
Oh no, you froze. Wait, I can't hear you.
Oh, we froze?
What? You can't hear us?
You froze from, you're back. You're back. So I didn't hear you after you walk in, and boom, for a movie guy, I'm okay after that.
Yeah, it was for a movie geek, it's heaven. You walk in and it's like the old world, this old beautiful old soundstage from 20th century or something, with all the stuff, all the city lights, all the stuff on the street. It's all Gotham City, and it's just a fantasy come true. And shooting that film had to be like it was back in the old days of the studio system, because making movies is a fascist system. You have a dictator and everybody else, and everybody has to follow his interpretation, his aim, his shot, right. And that's how it was. You're working for the man, and he was spectacular, and he and Emma, his wife. They're the bosses, and Wally, the DP. What's Wally's last name? Pfister. Wally Pfister shot that movie, and I believe, even though it would have been the hit it is anyway, I believe he's part of why it's such a fantastic movie, because visually that movie has never been seen before or since. It's so fantastic visually.
Gorgeous.
Wally.
Fantastic. Okay, so now Doctor Who. I can only imagine that you had absolutely no idea when you took that first part that what this would become. I mean, Whovians are insane. I mean, I can't tell you how many messages I got with your whole career. That's what everybody's focused on. And the fact that Eliza, you played Eric's wife on so how did this happen? And then we're going to talk about how you became, how that happened in real life. But so what's the whole Doctor Who experience for you?
I got approached years ago to play the Master on an American pilot for Doctor Who. We're gonna do a series, but here's the TV movie. Will you play the Master? I said sure. One thing, because I knew about Doctor Who when I'd been in England. So great, Doctor Who, what fun. So I do it, and then it goes away. We never hear anything, and then years pass, and suddenly it's back. And the Whovians are tens of millions of people.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, at the conventions, it's well, we don't have conventions now, but it was fantastic because so peaceful and the multi-generational. There'd be little kids dressed with the scarves with their parents. It was something that they shared, and they shared it with their parents, and it was just absolutely beautiful, very passionate. It's very heady stuff. And,
they are the gentle fans, though. They're wonderful, gentle. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's lovely. How, Eliza, how did you come to be cast as as Eric's wife?
He just, the director was, he was British. He was an Animal House fan, and he just offered me the role. And so that was fun because that was his other character, Bruce, the ambulance driver. And he got to kill me in that movie that we shot in Canada. It was just a total pleasure. We're still really close with Daphne. I mean, what a wonderful cast. Great people. But we didn't realize, it's another situation where you didn't realize what a big deal it was going to be and how lasting it was going to be. I mean, that's just wonderful.
So when you guys are out in the world, I'm guessing that's one of the things you're most recognized for. Is that one of the things you're most recognized for?
That's more when we're most appreciated for, and that's more at the conventions. Most recognized, well, for me, it's Animal House, of course, but right. For Eric, it's the stocked movies and Pope and Best of the Best. What do you say?
Yeah, the stock movies, especially overseas. The stock movies, all the foreign airports. Doctor, doctor, doctor. They all know the doctor. Yeah.
Somebody said, do you remember working with Johnny Depp in Slow Burn?
Sure. I was told I was doing it was a Beverly D'Angelo movie for HBO. Would I be in it? Sure. And you have a scene with a young actor who's going to be her son. We're going to probably offer the role to a Johnny Depp. Do you know who he is? I said no. So well, he can't get a job because he's so handsome. I said really? They said yeah, no, he can't because he's so handsome. Wait till you see him. So I see him, and they're right. He's like this angelic looking kid. Anyway, so and he came and he played her son, and he was just wonderful to be around. He was a great cat.
That's really so lovely. So if somebody's asking, Eric, do you have any projects coming up? He has 56 projects coming up. Of the 56 projects that you've got coming up, is there anything you're really excited about to come out? Is there something that you've done recently that you're thrilled about?
You know, even to say the title embarrasses me. Stalk Not My Doctor, Part 5. You know what? It's a wonderful, wonderful, entertaining film to watch. You're gonna love it. And it got a little too slashery for me, but it's gonna be fun to watch.
I love that.
And all my girls are always so good. They give me these great girls. The lead actresses. Yeah, I get these mothers and these daughters, and they're so great. And they all are great actors. Yeah.
Somebody said, Eric, do you plan on making movies until you leave? And I'm guessing that's true. I'm guessing that's a yes on that question.
Well, you know, in a fairy tale, yes. But in reality, you know, I saw both of her parents grow old and go away. And I have a hard time thinking about being that old. I have a hard time with it. because I knew her parents for 30 years.
Right.
And so I knew them when they were a year younger than I am now. And so it's like, wow. And so to think about age, I have to stop considering age after 70. I just can't see it. I can't perceive it. I can't think of me being 71, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and acting. I don't know. It's frightening to even think about. And I understand I am elderly and I'm going to get old. And I understand, but I don't want. But it makes me feel funny to think about it with a career involved. Does that make sense at all?
Yes, it does. It makes total sense. And there's a really nice advantage to having just turned 65 because I'm going to be able to get the vaccine soon. I just found out yesterday.
Right.
Just lowered it from 75 to 65 is going to be the.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they lowered it yesterday. So, so let's talk about how you guys met for people who don't know the story. Oh, wait, before we get to you, one more career thing, Burn This, doing Burn This. What was that experience like for you?
Well, to sum it up, I got a standing ovation every single show except the matinees.
When the old ladies were there. They couldn't stand, that's all.
Every time a whole house, especially a big Broadway house, this is a 900-seat house, which is a small Broadway house, but it's a big house. Every time they stand up like that, it makes you cry. It makes you sob because they're saying you're the man. And oh my God, it rips a hole in your heart. You can't believe you're appreciated like that. And so that alone, I mean, I love acting like I love my wife every day. I love what I do, man. I'm so lucky to do it. And I get some great parts. I get some dumb parts. I have fun playing them, but I get some great parts. And this was a great part. Pale, P-A-L-E, Pale. He was fantastic. And I got to play him, and every evening they would stand up, and every evening it would make me cry because every evening I would feel this big because all those people appreciated me. Oh. And it's the most incredible experience I've ever had. I suppose I'm talking about my ego, I guess.
Mm-mm. No,
I think that's heart-centered. I guess there's some ego in there, but I think that's also your soul merging with an audience's soul, and the two of you're all coming together and having this experience together.
But they would hit their feet, and I would just, oh my God, it was like somebody punched me right in the middle of the forehead. Bam! Oh my God! But every time it happened, it had the same effect on me. It never altered, and I never expected it to. Like, oh, here it comes. It was never like that. It was like, oh, it would hit me like somebody sucker punched me every single night.
You and I also, we cry when anybody gets a standing ovation. So I think it's much more just about the joy of that, that connection. Really
Would you do theater again?
Are you kidding? It's the greatest thing in the world. The only thing wrong with it is you can't pay your mortgage on what they pay you. That's what's wrong with theater. And it's wrong. It's wrong. Because it's so much fun. It's so much fun to go, so much fun to do. And they just need to make money off of it.
I hear you. Okay, so now tell us about, before we go, tell us about how you guys came to be.
She was my parole officer.
Oh, very funny. Careful, don't kick the thing. Are you lying back? Are you?
Yeah, he's lying back. This is your story.
Okay. I was working for Jonathan Crane and MCG. We managed John Travolta and Howie Mandel and some other Mike Figgis and stuff. And I was VP of Talent and Packaging, and I was also acting in their films. And I was in New York and Florida doing a movie. And I was booked on MGM Grand Airlines to come back to LA. In those days, you could change your ticket anytime. Right. So I took my ticket and then finished my work and changed it back to what it had been, ran to the airport, no makeup, the wrong clothes and whatever. And I happened to be seated next to Eric. And he had a cat on his lap in a carrier. In those days, you didn't bring your animals on with you. I thought that was very nice of him. The cat's name was Tender. And you know, he had a big bottle of water.
A chick magnet.
And I thought for sure he was gay. You know, so I don't know what he was trying to magnetize, but
So she felt safe.
I did. I had the script Intersection, which was written by my father, and I put it under the seat because I was like, oh God, I'm sitting next to an actor. I never really seen his movies, but I was also a casting director and an actress, so it was my responsibility to know who he was.
Right.
But I hadn't really seen them because I just like romantic comedies, and he hadn't done any. I just thought, oh, he does those violent films. But his year of being nominated for an Oscar was the same year that my dad won an Oscar for Out of Africa. So I'd seen him on the Oscars that year.
Oh.
Anyway, so I just thought, oh, I don't want to talk shop. I'm going to hide my script. He was so nice. Eventually, we took out our scripts, and he saw the name on mine. And Eddie Bunker, who wrote Runaway Train, knew David Rayfield pretty well, my father. And Eric was aware of his work. And so that kind of broke the ice. We started talking, and, you know, we talked about a million things. It was just that kind of thing. That very night, Jeffrey Dean Morgan was my nanny at the time, and he was taking care of my kids while I was gone.
Walking Dead.
Yeah. And she knows who Jeffrey Dean Morgan is. That all the people listening probably do. And I got home from the airport, and I had to go immediately to do a performance. I was in a play. And Jeff comes outside, and he's like, Liz, I mean, I went and hugged my kids and everything. I was leaving for the play.
Wait. I owe this all to Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he's like, Liz, phone call for you. And I was like, I can't be late for performing. Take a message. Who is it? He said, Eric. And I was like, I don't know anybody named Eric. I mean, I just met him. I didn't realize. And he says, he covers the thing, and he says, dude, this sounds like Eric Roberts. And I'm not going to tell Eric Roberts that you're not coming to the phone. He knows I'm talking to you. He can hear us. I'm not going to risk my life in that fashion. So and I was like, oh, yeah, I do.
But because he said it sounds like Eric Roberts. Oh, yeah, I met him on the plane.
Yeah.
She took the call.
I was like, I do know
If
Eric
he hadn't
Roberts.
said that, I wouldn't have called back. I gave it a shot. Hey, I wouldn't call back.
Really? You think?
No, probably not. Probably not. I know me. I give everything a shot.
So Eric was on set.
And especially, it's a guy answers the phone, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
And you didn't know who the guy was that was answering the phone, right?
That was good that you even talked to him and
Yeah.
hang up. But Eric was on set. He says, come visit me on set. This was a Sunday night. And I said, well, I'm doing a performance. He said, come afterwards. I said, where are you? He said, I have no idea. Like, okay, now this was the days of GPS, email, check my email, my call sheet. And I was like, he said, downtown somewhere. Downtown LA is impossible not to get lost, even with GPS, email.
Right.
He's like, you know my agent, call her. And I was like, oh, she's going to love that. And I did. And I did know her, and I did call her. And Sunday night, she's like, well, Liza, what? And I'm like, Eric invited me to come to set. Do you know where he's shooting? Because he's there, but has no idea. She's like, I don't know. All this stuff's in the office because you couldn't check electronically.
Right.
She's like, just drive around downtown. I'm like, what? And she said, I think it's, I don't know. I just, it was Cynthia. She's like, I don't know. It's like, maybe can I call you back? But again, there's no cell phone. Where was she going to call me back? Right? Call Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Somehow, I don't really remember. There's a missing part to this story.
She found me. She found the set.
I found him.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps now here, and I've heard this story before, and I have goosebumps.
It's pretty crazy. And
Well,
we just,
it's when things are meant to be, which I believe in. But anyway.
yeah, there's just a strong, and I was, we were both headed to Europe on almost exactly the same day after that. I was going to France and Italy. He was going to Italy. He was going to shoot. I was going because my ex-husband, father of my children, who I'm really close to this day, was doing a movie there. He's like, why do you guys come over? This is crazy. I have this wonderful flat in Paris. Bring the kids, And so I was doing that. It was really, Eric tried the same thing there too, by the way. He somehow got in touch with me through his agent this time and said, while you're in Europe, come over to Italy and see me. Where are you going to be? I don't know. I'm not going to just drive around Italy.
I'm in Rome. I'm in Italy. Well, I know.
I didn't do that one, but yeah, we just sort of been together ever since.
And not only together, but it's not only that you guys are partners and marriage partners, love partners, but you work I mean, you are essential to each other's whole career life, every part of your lives.
It's so great when I made her the boss. It's so great when I made her the boss because, you know, agencies, you know, they only tell you what they want you to know. And the only thing to really understand about an agent or an agency is this. What 8-year-old boy have you ever met who wants to grow up to be an agent? They want to grow up to be an actor or an actress or producer or director or writer. And they fail and they become an agent by default. So they aren't happy anyway. And then you have all these actors who want this unhappy failure to work for them and are always complaining.
Right.
So why would they like us? So they don't like us to start with. You can't blame them. And so I found out that I had an agent who wasn't like, you know, telling me about all the small goodies, because I like small goodies. And so I fired the agency and I came home that day and I said, okay, you're the boss. And she goes, I don't know if I can do this. And I said, of course you can. You've been doing it anyway. And we nobody works more than you.
Nobody else has 56 projects in the can cooking right now in COVID. Nobody.
And,
I don't know if that's good.
And I also have to tell you this because it just occurred to me too, but this is something else that I learned from my wife. About probably 20% of all the movies that I make now, 1 out of 5, is for some young little filmmaker who has $20,000 to make a movie, and she would give me to him. And when this first started happening, I'm like, do I have time for this? Come on, what are you doing?
You do a lot of music videos also, right?
Yeah, but that's a whole
mainstream.
Yeah, that's mainstream.
That's Rihanna and the Killers.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's what's so
Mariah
funny
Carey
when you think about it. Yeah, that the music videos are the big stuff
as compared to these. Okay, I gotcha.
So these guys who need a name to get the loan from the bank or whatever it is, and she gives them to me, and it was kind of irritating at first. Like, I don't have time for this, honey. But then I look forward to it now. It's so much fun to go help these kids.
Wow.
And I don't boss them. I don't jump on the set and act like a movie star. I just go there and I'm an employee, and they boss around all night, and then I go home. And it's just so much fun. I got to tell you.
Have any of those guys made good? Any of those people made good? Any of them?
Very good question.
They will.
Well, hold on. That's a really good question because we've been doing this for a while. We were in a movie together called Love is a Gun, and I just heard that director isn't really directing anymore. You know, let's put it this way. There are a lot of people we've worked with where we knew they were going to skyrocket, like Jeff Morgan. That's a good example.
Like Jeff Morgan.
In various capacities, whether as writers, directors, or our lawyer, Jeff Frankel, has really the best screenwriters in history, and got a lot of them as young saplings, you know. So, some of them have. I'm trying to think if there's anybody where it's like, oh my God, now he's so-and-so. A lot of them haven't, but they're still doing really well. They're prolific and they work a lot. And we turn these into a family affair too. My daughter does the catering. Often they use Keaton's music. We try really hard not to look at the stratas of success that way, because the whole mega success thing is so toxic and can really take you away from enjoying your life.
Here's what really puts it into perspective. About 8 months ago, everybody was unemployed overnight. Bang, everything stopped.
Right.
We were all even. Everybody's even. And that kind of fell all in perspective. And we slowly started coming back a little bit at a time, and we're still coming back. And we're having big pauses in the comeback, what have you. But we're all even. And it puts all movies are movies. It doesn't matter. They can be big, they can be small. They are movies, and they are fun, and they're entertainment, and they're essential. I'm an essential worker, I found out.
You know, you are, because entertainment, when we don't have it, I mean, you know, like right now I'm scratching for something new to binge on, because I think I've watched everything there is to binge right now. But what I love a lot of things about you guys, but what I love here is that you're a movie star, but you're a working actor. First and foremost, you're a working actor. And
Well, my wife and I call our technique when we teach, we call it working actor.
wow, well, there you go. That's pretty that's wow, that's lovely. Somebody was saying how much
Have
they
you watched
love the way
Virgin River? You have to binge on Virgin River. Have you watched it?
No,
Oh, there you go.
what's that on?
Virgin River.
On
Well,
what?
not that I know how to find anything.
Oh,
but
okay.
Look it up on IMDb, and IMDb will tell you where to find the actual
Okay,
show.
well,
Oh, you're gonna go nuts.
perfect, because I'm like, I feel like I've watched everything that I want to see. And I just want to say that I met you guys because Eliza and I, well, Eliza had a pivotal role. I had in Henry Jaglam's The M Word. And that's where I first came to meet you. And I met Eric at the cast. And again, Eric didn't want to be, Eric was like a wallflower at the premiere. Like, you were and the fact that you guys walked through this together with such grace and such, as I started this show saying, with so much respect, mutual respect is so beautiful to witness. And I also want to personally thank you, because you guys had me on your T Radio V, was that what it was called? Show years ago. And I ended up getting a show on his thing later, and which became this. And so I thank you for that. And also Eliza read the prologue to my book, Don't Jump, Sex, Drugs, Rock and Roll, My Fucking Mother, which was originally titled, Why is Julia Roberts Living My Life? And Eliza read that prologue on the air on that show that day, before the book was even out. But I just, you know, I was going to start getting into it with you about Keaton, but I'll talk to Keaton about the stuff that you guys have with Keaton next week. But I so adore you both and have so much respect for you as artists and as business people, but your humanity and your love for each other is a gorgeous thing to behold. And I'm so grateful for your friendship and to have you in my life. And thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Oh, you're kidding. We love you. Like, we really look forward to this.
Thanks.
And I know Keaton does too. This is a no-brainer, Vicki. And also all your people. I mean, I've become and stayed really good friends with a lot of people I met at your house.
Oh, yes, you guys did Women Who Write. I didn't even mention that.
Look who's in our lap.
Wait, they have weird names. What's their names?
Her name is Stevie.
Stevie Nicks.
And she's
Stevie Nicks. All right, I knew there was something to it.
Guess who she's named after?
I can't imagine.
Right.
As a matter of fact, when you guys were coming for Women Who Write, the first time you were supposed to come, Eric canceled that morning, and I had like a bit of a nervous breakdown. And Eliza got you to give me a voicemail that I then played to the room of 65 people, so they would believe me, because you promised you'd come back. And it took a little while, but you did.
Was it a good voicemail?
It was a great, I actually, you know, I had it on my phone. You know what happens when you get a new phone and they screw up? Like, I kept it for years, and then I got the new phone and I don't have it anymore, but it was great. It was great. You know, I think I actually have it on my iTunes. I think I found a way to save it. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I just adore you, and I can't wait to be in the same room with you. And I'll be watching everything coming up. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sending love to everybody watching. Mwah, we love you guys. You too, Vic.
See you soon.
Bye, sweetheart.